I wasn't looking for ghosts, or curses, or whatever it is that found me out there. I just wanted to feel close to my dad again. After he passed last year, I inherited a few boxes of his things. Mostly junk. Cracked compass, old camping gear, yellowed maps that smelled like mold and cigarettes. He used to obsess over places, especially the desert. Said it felt alive out there. Said it kept secrets better than people ever could. One of those maps had a red circle drawn in Sharpie deep into the Nevada-Arizona wastelands. No highway markers, no trail names, just one phrase scrawled in the corner: Sable Ridge. Don't forget. I tried Googling it. Nothing. No town listings, no ghost town mentions, not even an old mine. It was like it never existed. I don't know what made me go. Grief does strange things. Curiosity, too. I took a week off work, loaded up Dad's old camper, and started driving. Once I left the main roads, everything blurred into sand, rusted signs, and baking heat. My GPS cut out 5 hours in. Cell signal vanished after that, but I kept following his handwritten notes, turning where the map told me, driving until the ground itself looked forgotten. Eventually, I saw it. A cluster of buildings slumped against the horizon like corpses left to rot. A gas station with sun-bleached pumps. A tiny diner whose open sign swung limply on rusted chains. A church with a collapsed steeple, its white paint cracked and peeling like dried skin. Sable Ridge. There were no birds, no wind, just dead silence. Even the sand seemed still. I parked the camper just past the town sign, if you could call the leaning wooden post with faded lettering a sign. Figured I'd take some photos, walk around, and head back before nightfall. But that's not how things went. Not after I heard the church bell. It rang once, long and low, a deep, metallic groan that echoed across the empty buildings like a sound that had been waiting to be heard again. I froze. The tower was empty. I could see the broken bell through the gaping hole where the roof used to be. No ropes, no movement. Just the sound, still hanging in the air. I told myself it was the wind. Still, I went inside. Maybe because it was cooler in there. Maybe because something wanted me to. The interior was worse than I expected. Warped wooden pews, dust so thick it puffed up with each step, stained glass windows shattered like spider webs. But on the altar, there was a single candle. Literature, no breeze, no wax drips. Just a flame, standing tall, flickering as if it had only just been lit. I turned to leave and saw someone in the back pew, a man, or a figure, sitting still, facing forward. His shoulders didn't move. His head was tilted slightly, like he was listening to something only he could hear. I blinked, and he was gone. I didn't hear footsteps, no door creak, just gone. I didn't sleep much that night, locked the camper, closed all the curtains, tried to tell myself it was in my head. But at 2:03 a.m., I woke up to laughter. Children laughing. It came from the town square, and I knew in my bones that no children lived here. By morning, I wanted to be gone. I packed up everything, turned the key. Nothing. The engine didn't even click. The battery was dead, despite being new. My phone was already a brick. No signal, no help. I checked the map again, hoping to retrace my path out. That's when I noticed something odd. The red circle. It wasn't ink. It was burned into the paper, charred, like someone had seared it with heat. Shaken, I wandered behind the diner. That's where I found the graveyard. Dozens of headstones, half buried in drifting sand. Most were too worn to read, but a few still held names. The thing is, every single one had the same date of death. October 19th, 1965. A whole town. One night. Erased. I don't know what pushed me to dig one of the graves. Maybe I was hoping for answers. Maybe I was hoping there'd be nothing at all. But I didn't find bones. I found a face. Pale, undecayed, eyes open and glassy, not rotting, not skeletal, just waiting, as if it had only been buried hours ago. Then it blinked. I screamed so loud my throat tore. I ran straight to the camper, but the town had changed. Where ruins stood before, there were now working buildings. The gas station had lights. The diner buzzed with music. Scratchy, 1960s swing. The church stood whole, as if time had been rewound. And there were people, silhouettes moving behind the windows, shapes sitting at the bar. No faces, no voices, just motion. At first they ignored me, just played out their routines, pumping gas, chatting over invisible coffee, walking to church. But then they turned. All of them. At once. Their heads twisted toward me like marionettes on a single string. Blank faces, hollow outlines, and they started walking. Not running, just walking. In unison. Toward me. I sprinted back into the desert. No path, no direction. I didn't care. I just ran. But it didn't matter. Every direction I went, I ended up back in front of the church. I've been here. I don't know how long. Days? Weeks? Time moves differently here. The sun sets, but never fully rises. The stars shift too fast. The desert breathes around me. Sometimes I hear my dad's voice whispering from the graveyard. Other times I see my own camper driving through town, without me in it. I've stopped trying to escape. The road out never leads anywhere now. Just endless dunes and heat that whispers my name. One of them comes to the camper every night. Same one. He wears my father's hat, has no mouth, but I can hear him anyway. He taps once on the window, always once. And last night, I finally opened the door. He didn't come in, just stood there and said, without speaking, "You remembered us." That's all we needed. I think I'm part of the town now. I think that's what it wanted. So if you ever find yourself lost in the desert and the map says you're near Sable Ridge, turn around. Burn the map. Because once you see it, it sees you back. People always say the desert is peaceful, empty. Still, that's why we went. My girlfriend, Alyssa, and I. We both love stargazing, hiking, being off the grid. So when she found this secluded camping spot tucked way out in the Mojave, hours from anything, we jumped at it. The pictures showed endless sky, red rock formations, and total isolation. Just sand, stars, and silence. Exactly what we wanted. We left Friday morning. No cell signal after the last gas station. Our only map was a crumpled printout Alyssa grabbed from a forum. After some rough back roads and a slow crawl through rocky terrain, we made it. The spot was perfect. Flat land, no one in sight, and a wide open sky waiting for nightfall. We set up our tent, rolled out the sleeping bags, and cooked dinner as the sun dipped below the cliffs. That night, under the stars, we felt lucky. Untouched nature. No light pollution, no distractions. But right around 2 a.m., I woke up to a sound. It was distant, but clear. A low, howling noise, like a wolf, but not quite. It had this broken, unnatural cadence, like something trying to imitate an animal. Alyssa heard it too. She asked, "Coyotes?" I nodded, even though I wasn't sure. She rolled over and went back to sleep. I stayed awake until dawn. The second night, I tried to brush off the sound from before. Animals are part of the wilderness, right? We hiked a few miles out to a nearby ridge and took photos of old petroglyphs carved into the rock. The wind howled constantly up there, dry and sharp, like the air itself was alive. We didn't see another soul. When night came, the desert cooled fast. We bundled in blankets and sat watching the stars blink into view. Alyssa was pointing out constellations when it happened again. That sound. Only now it was closer. It wasn't just a howl this time. It was something deeper. Guttural. Like it came from a throat not built to make human or animal sounds. It echoed in bursts, multiple directions. Alyssa grabbed my arm. "I thought you said coyotes." I don't know anymore. We stayed up for a while, clutching the flashlight, but nothing approached. Just that sound, calling out, and the awful quiet that followed it. We didn't sleep much that night. The third night was our last. We just didn't know it yet. We went to bed early, hoping to leave at first light. I had this weird feeling, like we were being watched. I even double-checked the zippers on the tent and kept the car keys in my jacket pocket. At around 3 a.m., I woke up choking. Smoke, thick and bitter. The tent glowed orange. Alyssa was coughing beside me, kicking at the side wall. Something was burning the corner of the tent from outside. Someone had poured something along the fabric and lit it. I unzipped the flap and dove out, sand scraping my skin. I grabbed the water jug and doused the flames while Alyssa screamed. There was no one there, just wind, fire, and tracks leading into darkness. Long, drag-shaped tracks. Not footprints. We didn't think, we ran. No supplies, no flashlights, just the cold and a dim starlit trail toward where we parked the truck nearly a quarter mile away. As we ran through the sand, breathless and disoriented, something started screaming behind us. Not human, not animal. It was this shrill, unhinged wail, like metal grinding inside lungs. It echoed and doubled, like there were more than one. From different sides. We turned. Shapes moved in the dark, just outside of where we could see. Quick flashes between boulders and shrubs. I wanted to scream. I wanted to stop. But Alyssa grabbed my hand and dragged me through it. At one point, I looked back and saw eyes. Not glowing, not red, just there. Reflected. Staring from the black. The truck was a beacon, a miracle. We made it, barely able to breathe. I fumbled with the keys, dropped them once, and finally got the door open. As soon as I turned the engine, all the noises stopped. Gone. Like it had never happened. We didn't drive. We escaped. We didn't even speak until we saw the lights of the first small town an hour later. Alyssa called the police. They sent someone out, but the officers said they couldn't find any signs of people or fire, just some animal prints and possible wind damage to the tent frame. They looked at us like we were overreacting. We weren't. We know what we heard, what we saw. It's been 4 months, and Alyssa still wakes up crying. We moved apartments, got cameras, bought dogs, and we haven't gone camping since, but sometimes I still hear it, in my dreams. That not quite animal voice, calling out from somewhere far off and getting closer. If you ever go out to the desert, especially alone, just know, it might look empty, but it's not. I didn't believe in any of this stuff. Ghosts, aliens, whatever you want to call it. Paranormal, supernatural, unexplained. I always thought that was for people who needed an excuse for the things they didn't understand. But that was before the desert. Before I took the job that changed everything. It started in June of last year. I was broke between jobs and desperate. Found a listing online for a private security gig. It was simple. Monitor a decommissioned solar field about 30 miles outside Winslow, Arizona. Remote area. 2 weeks on, 1 week off. Room and board included. It paid better than anything I'd seen in months, and I figured, why not? When I got there, the place was eerie from the start. Dozens of massive solar panels stretching across the sand like metal skeletons, half of them shattered. The compound office was just a trailer with a radio, a desk, and a small bunk in the back. No Wi-Fi, no signal, just the hiss of desert wind and silence so thick it made your ears ring. The guy who dropped me off didn't even get out of the truck. He handed me the keys and a folder labeled Instructions, nodded once, and drove off in a cloud of dust. For the first 2 nights, nothing happened. It was just empty sky, dry heat, and hours of boredom. I'd walk the perimeter, check for signs of trespassers, log my rounds, and kill time reading in the trailer. Easy money. But then, I started hearing it. A low hum. Not like a machine, not quite a vibration. More like a tone, like it was coming from inside my own skull. Just beneath the threshold of sound, but constant. And it only came after dark. At first, I blamed the silence. Sometimes, when it's too quiet, your brain makes things up just to fill the space, right? But the hum got louder. Every night around 2 a.m. Same time, like clockwork. It would rise up out of nowhere, fill the trailer for a few minutes, then fade out like it was never there. That's when I noticed the lights. I thought they were headlights, way off in the distance, just a shimmer on the horizon. But they moved too fast, too erratically, stopping on a dime, shooting sideways, blinking out and reappearing. I called it in on the radio. Dispatch brushed it off as atmospheric reflection. Desert plays tricks, they said. Heat messes with your eyes. I wasn't convinced. I started logging the lights. Every time they showed up, it was between 2 o'clock and 2:30. Never earlier, never later. I took pictures, but every image came out blurry or blank, like the lens had fogged over. I even tried a video one night. All I got was 15 minutes of black screen and a weird hiss, like radio static. Then the radio started acting up, picking up strange bursts of static, even when I wasn't using it. Once I heard what sounded like breathing, long, shallow, drawn-out inhalations, right behind me. I turned around, but the trailer was empty. Or at least, I thought it was. The first time I saw him, he was standing between the solar panels, maybe 100 yards away. Just a silhouette. No movement. No sound. Just there. I stared at him through the window for what felt like hours, waiting for him to move, to approach, to vanish. But he didn't. He just stood there. When I finally opened the trailer door, he was gone. No footprints. Nothing. I didn't sleep that night. A few nights later, a storm rolled in. Not a normal storm. No lightning, no thunder. Just thick, rolling clouds and wind so strong it felt like it was trying to tear the trailer apart. That's when the lights came back. Brighter. Closer. They hovered just above the ground, circling the compound like vultures. Then everything went dark. No power. No radio. My flashlight flickered and died. The hum returned, louder than ever, vibrating through my chest like a subwoofer. And over it all, I heard whispering. Dozens of voices, too fast to understand, overlapping, murmuring just below the level of meaning. I don't remember passing out, but I must have. I woke up on the ground outside the trailer, my arms and face covered in sand. Around me, etched into the dirt, were symbols, perfectly symmetrical spirals and lines that seemed burned into the earth. Worse, on the trailer door, there were handprints. 3 of them. 2 were adult-sized. 1 was much smaller. I lasted 1 more day. I packed everything I could and radioed dispatch to get me the hell out. I told them I was sick. They didn't ask questions. They just sent a driver the next morning. I thought leaving would fix it. Thought I could go back to my life. But the desert didn't stay behind. A week later, back at my apartment in Phoenix, I saw the lights again. This time, outside my 3rd-story window. 3 faint orbs, hovering motionless just above the tree line. I stared at them for hours until they blinked out, all at once. My electronics started frying. My TV shorted out. My phone glitched constantly, picking up strange voices in the background of my calls. My microwave turned on by itself and stayed on until I unplugged it. I started hearing the hum again, at 2:17 a.m. every night, like a calling card. And then, the dreams started. In the dreams, I'm back in the desert. I'm standing outside the trailer, staring at the silhouette of the man. Only now, I can see his face. Or more accurately, the absence of it. No eyes, no nose, no mouth, just a blank, smooth void. And when I wake up, there's sand in my sheets. I started documenting everything, trying to get evidence. But every photo, every audio file, every piece of footage either disappears or corrupts. Last week, I found a video on my phone I don't remember taking. It's footage of me, standing outside my apartment building at 2:19 a.m. I'm just standing there, not moving, not blinking, staring up at the sky. The lights are above me, 3 of them, in a perfect triangle. The video ends with me turning to the camera, my eyes glowing faintly. I never recorded that. I swear to God. Tonight, I'm recording this message, in case I disappear, in case someone finds my place empty and wants to know what happened. If you see the lights, don't look at them. Don't acknowledge them. Don't follow them. Because once you do, once you see them, they see you back, and they don't like to be forgotten.